Good afternoon, I'm Herman Green with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well, you can download TVJ's One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1, followed by the words Spot and Media. The fraud case involving former Cash Plus boss Carlos Hill has been dismissed. Mr. Hill appeared in the Home Circuit Court this morning. He was charged with fraudulently inducing persons to invest in Cash Plus and the Cash Plus Group. We will have more on this story in primetime news at 7. And fire personnel are now completing cooling down operations at the St. Catherine Municipal Court office in Spanish Town after a fire of unknown origin gutted the accountant's office. It is reported that fire was seen coming from the section which housed books, receipts, and other documents relevant to court fines. This is also the area that deals with jury fees and payments to spouses and other monetary commitments imposed by the court. The incident is being investigated. In 2003, the courthouse was affected by fire which destroyed thousands of documents.
This morning to find that there is some fire and it has affected the court. All circuit matters, I'm informed, are rescheduled for tomorrow. I'm not too sure how they will deal with the parish court matters, but circuit matters are adjourned until tomorrow.
More cabinet ministers are speaking out following the disclosure of charges racked up on their government-issued mobile phones. On Monday, it was revealed that 9 cabinet ministers and 2 state ministers have accumulated cell phone bills amounting to almost $2.8 million between March 2016 and February this year. Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett, who had the second highest total, over $623,000, says the charges could have been higher.
If I wasn't using my personal phone quite a bit and also utilizing the internet as well as WhatsApp, because the world knows that to build tourism and drive it, you have to travel all across the globe. And besides, Jamaica has a strong reputation out there in the world as being a very powerful tourism destination with a high call for participation in global tourism.
Mr. Bartlett added that the charges could not be avoided given his portfolio responsibility.
Average of $60,000 a month for phone calls traveling around the world to drive tourism. I think that's a figure that is lower than what it used to cost me in private sector for my personal phone when I didn't have all of this work to do. So I must say that a lot of care has been taken to not be in any way extravagant.
Attorneys for dancehall entertainer Munga Honorable are trying to get him released from police custody today. Munga, whose given name is Damian Roden, is being investigated for murder. It's reported that Munga surrendered to the Hunts Bay police on Monday evening in the company of his attorney Christopher Townsend. Mr. Townsend told our news center that he was questioned yesterday.
The day has passed that I've given them to decide which direction they're going. So by later on today, we would have filed our habeas corpus application before the court and have it heard seeking his removal from custody.
And Mr. Townsend says his client is maintaining his innocence.
And as a matter of fact, the tenor of the question suggests that they are not looking at him as the person who committed the offense. The questions were very wide and open-ended, so I suspect that they may be just investigating.
Munga is to be questioned in connection with the fatal shooting of a man in Akiwalk in St. Andrew 2 weeks ago. The incident took place at a dance. There's a desperate appeal for assistance in northern Clarendon, where houses are on the verge of collapse in sections of Frankfield and nearby communities. The areas have been abandoned since the heavy rains last Monday, but continuous rainfall and landslides are still cause for concern. TVJ's Krista Campbell has been monitoring flood damage in Clarendon.
Last Monday's heavy rains have left a trail of devastation in northern Clarendon communities like Frankfield, but the worry is far from over. Rains continue to fall every day in the northern parts of the parish, and landslides, which have left houses literally on the edge, are a big concern. One of them went straight through a house in Mainridge.
Cut down right in and lick out the front part and go right into the middle room and mash up the bed, the table, and the TV mash up. Nobody can live in there now. Nobody cannot live in there now. But want the front side lick off and go right into the middle room. And the mango tree sit down in there. You have to cut out the mango tree, leave it out and heap of dirt and mud will come up at the top and go down in there.
Motor vehicles were swept away in the floodwaters, but in Frankfield, landslides had the same effect in at least one case.
This home right here was occupied by a teacher who taught at she teaches at the Frankfield Primary School. And as you can see, the breakaway and her car went down in the gully along with the landslide. However, they get a truck yesterday to pull up the car, but it's broke. The car has completely damaged. And as you can see, the bottom house where the car went, the resident have to evacuate. Even this house here, the resident have to evacuate.
Councillor Clive Mundell says there are many more houses in the same predicament across the Frankfield division. Siebert Bailey lives in Effort near Frankfield.
We need some help quick, because we don't know if the bamboo will keep this land torn down, so they will get the land get soft. The place will soon broke. For your wall up there crack, we keep the wall, so we need something to do to it. A wall run on it the bottom.
Tractors have cleared some roadways so residents can get in and out of some areas, but electricity and water still remain a challenge in many northern Clarendon communities. So too, getting food and other critical supplies. It's especially difficult for residents like Ruby Lewin who live along the banks of the river. An unsafe place to live, but she says she's never seen flooding like this in the 44 years she's lived and raised her family here.
The water from up the road come down, then it back up, then everything and mash up all around kitchen and everything, wash out my food, my plate, my pot and everything.
The government has already started to airlift food to some of the worst affected areas and promised more help is coming. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.
In the meantime, the National Works Agency is undertaking a comprehensive drainage system assessment in several communities in Clarendon before beginning an improvement exercise. Member of Parliament for Clarendon Southeastern, Rudyard Spencer, says this is being done as a matter of priority.
What we are doing right now is the Works Agency doing a comprehensive list and estimate to ensure that when it's done now, it is properly done. But it is getting first-hand attention.
And can you give us a timeline by when you'd expect that some work can begin to clear that drainage?
I don't want to give a guesstimate right now, but as soon as the estimate and the budget is in place, I'm sure it will be done. And it is being given priority attention.
Several residents of the Rocky Point Fishing Beach last week told our news center that Mr. Spencer had converted a key drain in the area to a garden. They said this contributed to the flooding. Mr. Spencer admitted that the blocked drain may have contributed to the flooding and pledged to have it fixed. The Salvation Army School for the Blind was given a spring makeover yesterday. As part of their annual Labor Day project, over 80 volunteers of the JPS Foundation's Volt team made their way to the Salvation Army School for the Blind, where sections of the school were repaired.
And those were the music room, grade 3 classroom and a library. The front entrance was also given a well-needed sprucing up, and also all of the rails in the schools. And those rails are really important because they allow the children to get around the compound free and unaided.
Kind of like the vibe that we get from this school. You know, the kids really need corporate Jamaica to come on board, and JPS have seen this as one of the schools that really, you know, we can be very impactful from the foundation standpoint in terms of giving back of our labor.
One teacher expressed her appreciation.
And we cannot thank them enough. I mean, no amount of thank yous will be able to express how we feel here at the Salvation Army School for the Blind as a staff, to walk in and to see our place well painted, our lawns, which are always immaculate, but today they are extra immaculate because they have been cut and the areas around the lawns have been painted.
Meanwhile, manager of the JPS Foundation, Jacinth Morgan Coley, said that the school will also be assisted with a braille machine and the foundation will continue to support the institution.
but we think it's important as the energy partners for Jamaica to ensure that we give back. Outside of our regular programs or regular philanthropic efforts and our CSR program, we try to ensure that there are specific projects that can help specific areas, schools, children, and of course, ensuring that we play our part as nation builders.
2 projects in St. Catherine yesterday offered assistance to 2 groups of persons who are in desperate need of assistance. The dilapidated Lucky Hills Basic School, which was highlighted by TVJ News recently, now has a new structure for the students. The other group, residents of Sunnyside, who were devastated by the recent rains, also got help cleaning up from the traffic division of the Jamaica Constabulary Force.
We were planning our Labor Day project for traffic headquarters, but some ideas came to us on Sunday.
Those ideas were approved by the police high command, and so the division helped Sunnyside residents with their cleaning up. The community was flooded last week, and so everything was damaged or destroyed. The cops helped to remove the garbage, clean and paint walls, and even helped with the laundry, much to Mrs. Thomas's delight.
Look at my clothes on the line. Is Inspector hang them out for me?
We are basically representing what the JCF is all about in providing services of different sorts, and in this instance to help the people of Sunnyside come back to some level of normalcy with their lives.
Meanwhile, at the Lucky Hill Basic School, the St. Catherine Municipal Corporation, Farco Company, several youth clubs and services, as well as community members, helped fix the school's structure. This is what it looked like a few weeks ago. But since their story was highlighted by TVJ News, several individuals and groups, including Food for the Poor, have contacted the school principal, Sandra Walters, promising assistance.
I'm feeling very happy for this project today because the children will have a brand new school to go into that is conducive to learning.
Councillor for the Mount Industry Division, Roger Curlew, says other forms of assistance are also coming.
Persons from Food for the Poor visited this location, and they're going to be giving the school some tiles, some toys, and some furniture. We had persons from JCF who came and did a site visit, and they too have planned to donate things to the school. And a lot of other agencies, even persons from TVJ, called to assist with today's project.
Community members like Mrs. Ferguson says the assistance is well appreciated as the location is not only used for educational purposes. They also say the renovation will rebuild their confidence in the school.
Yeah, it's a school, a polling station, and if there's any event going on in the area, we use this building for the occasion.
I feel good because a lot of the children, some of them parents take them care of Glengarve, and in the community they come from. So I feel very good because my child come here.
A man died in a motor vehicle crash along the Saltmarsh Main Road in Trelawney yesterday morning. Reports indicate that about 3:45, a silver Toyota Corolla motor car was traveling towards Montego Bay along the roadway when the driver lost control of the vehicle and slammed into a tree. He died on the spot. The police are appealing to motorists to obey the speed limit. And that's the Midday News. I'm Herman Green. Join us at 7 for the primetime news package. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production team, good afternoon.